So, you know, people sometimes say, show up despite your feelings, and that builds your endurism. But, you know, what if we show up with our feelings? I don't know why, I just like, that makes me feel safer than forcing myself to do something despite my feelings. Like, nah, let's show up with our feelings. We're embodying truth, right? This is what this time is about. This is what the news is about right now. The Epstein files, the shadow of our human consciousness and the way we do things bringing to light. It's just how we run shit actually is becoming part of our collective knowledge, and it's inspiring us to soul search, and it's inspiring us on an individual level because we're seeing it come out like that. Some people thought, we'll never see it. I sure as heck didn't like predict that it was going to be 111 right now, out of all times, just right now. And I have been realizing and researching, there is, and I've somatically experienced this as well, there is what's called like an overload in your brain when you get this much attention. I mean, attention. When you get this much information all at once, it's desensitizing us to see the horror, like actually accept horror. And that's making us not that concept is making us not go full force into our purpose right now. Like they did this in a way to where you would be overloaded and flooded and not 100% go forth into what you came here to fucking do. So I don't know why that was so hard for me to get out, but it kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like disassociation, and how we're not able to see the fullness of ourselves if we can't come back to truth. Like we need to feel what's going on. So you're showing up not despite your feelings, you're showing up with your feelings, because you can't do anything. Like if you need to clean your house, you can choose a time and you can choose a state of being that you do it in when you have fun, where you have fun. You don't have to do it this second. Like you schedule your own life. You don't have to pick a job that you can't stand anymore. You can choose something, and I've personally done this, choose something where you know you're gonna do less work because you're done being stressed. You don't know it's gonna work out somehow. I just believe it. And it did. Did it work out to my highest expectations that I would be off on my own with some business by now after 1 year? No. Like it didn't end up like that. But what I needed was I got what I needed, which was space and time to feel and go through the darkest aspects of my own psyche, and go through trauma and perceive it, and rewrite the story and feel and heal what happened. So that's what we're doing on a collective basis. So I left a position where I kind of had it made. It was just stressful. It was just very stressful. And I couldn't see that I had it made at the time because I was just so angry. I wanted to be out there in the world. I wanted to be on YouTube, when all the while I could have been doing all of this and I could still be doing more. But it feels like we had to learn through the darkness of ourselves. We had to learn the reality. What do you actually think about every day? What do you actually think about? And it's interesting, if you made it already 4 minutes in, you're sitting at a frequency that you're like, you can feel the end. You can feel the envisionment of your own self. And like even my body and my words change as I get more into the reading. And I am sick right now. I like wasn't expecting to do this. And that's maybe gonna be a theme. Wasn't expecting to do this right now, because you need to show up as authentically as possible and not be afraid to like embody yourself, be creative, and show the moodiness, show the intensity that you do bring. Because it's so funny, the best qualities of you, I was gonna say the biggest, but the biggest and best qualities of you are the ones that you have shamed all the way into like not even your being anymore, a perception of your being that's maybe this big. You shamed it to where you never bring that side of you out again. And it leaks through in different ways, in different situations. Maybe when you're super, super comfortable with somebody, or like, you know, you're feeling like adrenaline or something like that. Like that comes out. I just have 555 as well. So I'm talking about the different pieces of you that you have. You have like embodiments of higher frequencies and higher like states of being that you get to, and we need to recreate that, is what I'm saying. We need to recreate and be conscious of the states of being that we're in. It's like really misunderstood, because no, you don't just like wish something away. There's so many different faculties here. It's the mental, and hopefully you can follow what I'm saying. It's the mental, it's the physical, and then there's emotions. So there's, and concepts, like the thoughts, the mental realm isn't just, oh, it's a mental realm, it's one box, and the feelings are another box, how we think of it and conceive of it on a piece of paper if we were to write it out. But it's not like that. It's a story. It's a water wheel of things where it's generating and you're like staring at it in a hypnotic state, and then you just end up doing the same things that you do normally and your life doesn't change. You might have read something, you are not read, who even freaking reads? You might have watched a video or something of content and you're understanding things in a deeper way, and then you go, oh my God, I have more ability here, right? I have to like forget. I mean, I forget that I have to go back to like, I want to say step, not 7, but I have to say step 1. And I think that's why this is on purpose, because I'm like trying to figure it out. And so go back to that part where you learn a new state of being and these tools, okay? Then you have what like your shame comes up. It might be different for everyone, but just for this example, you learn a new tool to create your reality and you're going towards that goal, or you have something that you want to create and you go towards that goal and you start chipping away and you start doing little things. But there's so many more things that flood in before you get to the goal, right? There's so many things, and that's why we talk about the process and the progress of something, not just the end result. Because you're becoming the person that holds the end result. It's almost like you're becoming the person that ends up holding the end result over here, right? So does that make sense? You're say okay, say this is the platform you want to build, literally a platform. And the entire piece looks like this, but you're rolling yourself into shape to become the version of you that you're envisioning. You're envisioning this. That's you on top of the platform, or within the platform. You're completing the platform. And look, this one looks like my eye. I love this one. I don't know. But anyway, so you're saying you're becoming the entire vision, but without this piece that went through the entire process and progress, you wouldn't have gotten to the end result. Does that make sense? I mean, maybe that was a little bit much for the explanation, but we're learning how the dark side and the shadow aspects of reality are propelling us forward, but we don't want to get lost in the end, like you don't want to lose the end sight of something when you're going through your shadow. And that is what's really, really hard. That's where, when you look for leadership, when you kind of look for outside guidance to try to show you discernment and what to do and where to go. But that's precisely where you need to build the muscle of your own discernment. Even if it's not perfect, even if you're gibberish a little bit, blah, 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 but it doesn't matter. You're still envisioning, Napoleon Hill calls it the definiteness of purpose. You're defining the vision and the embodiment of what you want the world to be. You're becoming the change. And as you become that fully, most consistently, the end result, you are learning each of these things. And that's what this channel is about, is every little thing that I'm learning as I'm doing that myself is what's the content. So, and that has been my dream for the longest time, but it's just so hard to get through the actual thing to then go with the lesson. It's like I only make videos when I have the truth aspect that I see within my own self, but it's the energy that you can discern and you can then embody it. And I'm getting better at explaining exactly what, like, the each individual thing. So let's go back to, like, when there's the different faculties of life: thought, physical, and emotional. So you get lost in a story that you're telling yourself in your thoughts. And don't be mistaken, it's not just one thought. No, that's like a really high level of mindfulness and presence when you're looking at reality like that. But we automatically think of it like that, and then we shame ourselves. Oh, well, I can't do this right. I can't meditate right. I can never change my life. It just is how it is. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. It's like this blob that you're like just inside of your head. Like when you're sick and you're congested, it's like that's all you can focus on because it hurts. But there's still all this other stuff going on. You're not just like void. Yeah, it's intense and it hurts, but there's not, the lights are still on, the animals are still walking around, you still have to feed them, you still have to make money, you still have to, or if you call out sick, you have to put in the time if you work for a different company, or you have to reconcile. If I work for myself, I made a video anyways, even though I was sick, because this is pretty low effort. You don't want to do a lot when you're sick, because being sick represents doing too much. And it's funny because what are you doing too much of? It's like, what are we actually doing throughout the day? So sometimes a sickness aligns you, just like what's happening with the Epstein files and the sickness of our corruption, and not just our government, but just every government in the world, and how the world is run. And we understand this stuff, but the antidote is literally mindfulness, literally what the monks are talking about. And I just keep talking about this because it's the literal antidote, the answer. When you're mindfully doing things with the defined purpose of your life. So people try to think of purpose like, oh, this career, this and that. I used to think it was that for a long time. And you know what the universe showed me? Anything that I'm attached to is going to be a disappointment. Anything. So when you're attaching or you're idealizing a career or a person or a relationship or anything, and you're putting expectations on that are way up here, you're expecting something to happen, and when it doesn't happen, you're disappointed. But before you even do that, you worrying about how you're gonna do that. So you want that career, you're worrying, how am I gonna get traveling and doing all this stuff and making videos and all these places that I want, or however I'm gonna be doing it when I'm here. That's like the wrong way of thinking. That's what I did for a long time. And I did travel. And did I make videos? No, because of the shame. and that's because you're idealizing how it's gonna go. You're attached, and then when that doesn't happen, you're sitting in shame. So you're still creating that reality. And your trauma has a lot to do with it. If you have been abused, you literally feel like you're a piece of garbage. And I treated myself like a piece of garbage. So I had to learn through that, understanding, oh, I'm not a piece of garbage. This stuff happened to me, and this is what happens in the brain. So don't shame yourself further. You start right now. That's true acceptance. Is like, oh, No, you're right. That happened. I did do that for years, or I neglected things for years, and it is what it is. Am I gonna continue neglecting? Or am I gonna slowly walk towards what I'm envisioning and wanting to embody and attempting to embody? And then sometimes embodying, but I wanna do it more consistently. Or I just walk back the other way. It's like, there's no other way. You have to say there's no other way, because society is physically changing now. And this is like, aren't you fired up? Aren't you fucking fired up about this? Like that's what got me to do this right now. I'm like, I'm fucking fired up about this. This is crazy. This is confirming everything that we were saying, spiritual people were saying for a long time. So just understand, everything you feel is not ridiculous. If you thought someone was judging you, they probably were. If you felt weird shit here, yeah, it probably was weird. It probably was divine timing to not do that. It probably was like addictions. It's crazy. It's the opposite of crazy. It's literally sane. And it's hard living in a world where everything is just avoidance, but you have to be the change. And we're on the boots on the ground right now. In your apartment, in your life, in your own body, you're feeling everything. You're understanding yourself. You're defining your own purpose. You're defining it. It's not a job. It's what you want to bring into the world. You do that through the world and being in service, but you can start now. It's not something you have to attain. You might have to put yourself in different positions along the way. You might literally have to get different jobs along the way to pursue that is your purpose. Say it's love. Say your purpose is actual unconditional love and oneness. Like, that's what I feel is similar to mine. Hope, like specifically hope and like optimism, but joy. But that comes when you think about someone that's joyful and hopeful, right? They're in love with life. They're happy, They're like skipping around with flowers. And it's funny because that's how people see me, but I don't see myself like that completely. So I'm working on all this stuff that I don't see when I'm alone, when I'm having panic attacks and crying and digging into this stuff that nobody sees me do. It's like, same thing is happening for you. Same thing is happening for you, is what I feel. Nobody sees you doing this work, and you're following your purpose while you're doing that work, and you might not have an exact name for it. There is a video online that you can try to understand your purpose a little better, from Teal Swan, and I think it's called How to Find Your Purpose. But it's basically taking a negative energy the most dominant negative energy that you feel throughout your life, and you're feeling it, experiencing it, coming up with a word for it, and then you're looking up antonyms of what the opposite of that would be. And usually that is a great representation for a word, as far as to represent the feeling of what your purpose is. And it's something that you decide. It's something that you feel, and you come up with that, not the video telling you what it is, or nobody else could tell you it. And they explain that in the video, but I'm just saying. So we have to be in touch with ourselves and in tune. And I was obsessed with this when I was a kid. I was obsessed with finding my purpose. I need to figure it out. I need to start a company. I always, like, literally for years. And the only thing that stopped me from continuing to get to that, I always thought everything was crazy. I woke up when I was 16. Like, I started learning about all this stuff that's now coming out in the news. But I'm almost 29. So that's a lot of years that I was building towards something and feeling shame from outside world. And I like people. I like to be in groups and communion. And I feel the collective unconsciousness emotionally. And that was really hard to move through. And now there's so much happening on the planet where it's lightening up to where you can get your words out. You can get your thing out. And there's more opportunity than ever to increase your awareness and influence as you become more embodiment and of the truth and authenticity. So don't think just because you didn't do it for all this time, there's no reason that you have to shame continuously. You can feel the shame that's already happening, but there's no reason that you have to shame being shamed or all this time that you wasted. You don't have to do that. You can feel what's happening for you, how you think. Just see what I'm saying? How you think, how you experience things. Then don't look at that and be like, oh, that's crazy. You just experience it. Oh my God, oh my God. And we become closer with ourselves as we do that. So if you have any questions, I know this is kind of all over the place, leave a comment and subscribe if you love this planet and you want to change and be the new Earth. You want the world to change, so we're going to be the new Earth. Okay? That's what we're here to do. Okay. Bye. Love you.